So, hello, sorry, it's been a little while since I've done a tutorial. I've been really busy. Just been doing the whole working thing and the Bifrost beta testing thing. As you'll see from the community tab, there is a new Bifrost version out with a bunch of bug fixes and speed fixes and whatnot. No, I don't want to put in 1200. So yeah, let's just get to it. Today it's going to be doing some instancing and some other pure madness witchcraft. So this really is for the people that have been asking me how to add more than one piece of geometry to an instance. And I'll just show you how to do that today. It's slightly complicated, but it's still really early days, and I'll just discuss that as we go. So let's just get going. I'm just going to create a torus type thing, and I'm just going to J that around there. Just pull the radius down and make it smaller. Alright, that'll do. And then I think I'm just going to use a sphere. I'm just going to drag that down like so. Yeah, let's just leave that there for now. And then maybe, or should we use a cube? Why not? Why not? Indeed. Let's just make this pointy building sort of like whatever. Okay, cube, torus, sphere. Brilliant. Right, so let's get the Bifrost Graph editor open. And firstly, you'll notice we've got like a new kind of welcome screen here, which is quite nice. Like the design and that. And Bifrost is a visual programming framework for 3D graphics. Fantastic. So we can create a new graph or open an example graph. So if I click on the Bifrost browser, it opens the Bifrost browser, and there's a couple of new sort of explodey type things going on in here with fire and whatnot, and we've got a new cloth set up, which is excellent, to show how we can tear cloth. Believe there's some more stuff in here. This waterfall mist, don't think that was there before. So yeah, you can get started with some different bits and bobs, which is nice. And if you click on get started, it's going to take you off to the area where there's some tutorials, some basic tutorials. This is going to grow, but obviously let's help that along a little bit. Alright, so let's create a graph. Let's delete our input, and with the outliner selected, I'm going to bring in the cube, the sphere, the torus. These are our instance objects, and the plane, which is going to be our ground plane. Alrighty, let's just get some order going. Order. Right, output. Get over there. Right, we're going to go over set instance geometry here, and what we would usually do is plug in the plane into the points, the instances into the output, and we would put a torus, whatever, into the geometry, and we would have, you know, the torus showing up. I'll just scale that down a little bit. Okay, but intuitively you'd think, well, we can drag that in there as well because there's more room and it connects, and we'll be able to see more instances. But you can't. Can you do it, Captain? That is because these guys, well, what's needed is just some like ID, and you kind of get this in Mash as well, actually. So for now, because this is still early days, we have to do a little bit of extra, a little few extra nodes to make this all work, and but it's not always going to be like that. This is these are a lot of the stuff we're using in Bifrost are base nodes. There are, you know, quite a few bigger compounds that we can use and explode, like the particle graph and other NPM stuff, and there's going to be a hell of a lot more of that coming. But for now, we need to do it like this. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a pass node. I'm going to drag that up here, and I'm going to drag the pass into there, and then I'm going to pass that into the points. We're using a pass because we are going to want to connect something else up in a little bit. And we just do that now. So I'm going to get a point count, here we go, get point count. I'm going to drag that down into the geometry section of that, and then I'm going to create a sequence array. So we're going to go sequence array for now, and I'm just going to drag that into the size, which is all good. So we've got a sequence array because what we're trying to establish here is that we are going to have a sequence of numbers, IDs in this case, to show up these different elements. Unfortunately, this sequence won't. We need to plug into the instance ID value. We're not going to be able to do that because these are like two different. I'll show you. So if we mouse over this, we've got an array float, and if we mouse over this, we've got a array long. Okay. So if you think about it, we need to create a to long. Okay. So we need to take the float into here, and then we need to use this long output into the long input of the instant ID values, and then that connects up without any problems. So that's all good. Then we think, okay, so let's get the sphere and let's plug that into the instance geometries, and let's get a cube and plug that into the instance geometries. So a simple network. There's really not a lot going on here at all. And once you understand these three, or let's say four nodes that have to be here as kind of main players to get all these guys to talk, then it's not really a problem. You can just refer back to this video. I'll probably save off the compound and let you all have the scene for free and all that kind of usual stuff. So we can see though that we're still not seeing the geometry show up, so there's an extra step, and that is that we need to go into the sequence array and put some numbers in. So if I put in it like excuse me, 3, and we still see that nothing shows up, and then we need to put something into the step. So if I put in like 4 into the step, we can see that now we have got more geometry showing up. God damn, it's cold in here. I'm like shaking. I've got my window open. My fault. Right, so that is all good. So obviously we can go back to our original object and we can scale up, and we've still got all of that kind of thing going. And if you've got the Revel pack involved, you can also use the scatter points, but there is another way to randomize all this, and this part blew my mind entirely. I obviously converse via email with some of the guys over at Bifrost that are working on the Bifrost Graph team, excuse me, and you know, because obviously I'm beta testing it. Last night I got an email from one of the guys, and he said try this code and put it in the Bifrost Graph. And now I'm not a code guy, so I was like, oh god, what am I going to do? What have I got to do in the Bifrost Graph to get this working? So literally sent me code, yeah, in an email, okay, just written in the root of the email. I won't show you the email because it'll give his address away, and I cannot be bothered to rotoscope and like animate a blur over all this stuff, so whatever. So I'm just going to copy and paste the code that came in the email. So here's the code. I could probably open a little text editor or something. I don't know, I really can't be bothered with that either. But so I thought, well, how do I do this? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just be a monkey and I'll Control V. And I was like, what? How did that just happen? So someone sent me an email with code in it. I copied and pasted it into the graph, and it created the nodes. That absolutely blew my tiny mind. Like, literally blew my mind. So, you know, you're working with your mate, he's in the States or whatever, or wherever, and he's like, yeah, I'll email you the code, and you just copy and paste it and drop it into the graph, and it's done. That's crazy. And you know, it's just crazy. Anyway, so this is for creating, as you will see, a random value array. So if we get rid of these chaps for now, I'm just going to delete this and this, and we'll just drag these boys down here, and we're going to put the random value array back into the size. And we've just got a couple of different elements here. So we've still got the too long, as you can see. We'll drag that into the instance ID. But this time we've got a random value array, which you can create in here, random value array. So you can create your own. We'll just delete that. Obviously you can create a multiply. That just multiplies these two together and whips through into the too long so that they can talk. Kind of makes sense, kind of not very intuitive, but whatever, it works. So in here we've got a value which is set to 1,000, and this is like a randomization, so we can put any number in here, and as you can see, everything's gone all nice and random. So if I change this number to say like 600, it's going to seed it into a different kind of layout. So we've still got that all working nicely. But you know, you can use the scatter points, and we can paint and stuff like that. I'm not going to go into that today. What I can't show you today is randomization of scale or rotation, because I haven't figured that out yet. I'm just being honest with you. And I will do that shortly. I will. But for now, you know, maybe you could just set it up so that you've got some cubes that are taller and some cubes that are shorter, and just plug them in here and sort it out that way. Okay, so that is how you link up these bad boys, and that is how you do that. However, this morning I thought to myself, okay, and this is how I think all the time. I thought to myself, alright, that's nice, instancing, all that kind of thing, cool, and it works, it's really fast, it's excellent, and it's wonderful, and we can, you know, do all this kind of cool stuff. But what about if we could take it a step further? So it was just in my mind, so I'm just going to give it a go now, see how we go. I'm going to create a sphere. Excuse me, I've got a cold. I've got a really hoarse voice. Hoarse? Yeah, hoarse. Okay, so here's a sphere, and I'm just going to drag that sphere. Drag that sphere into here. That rhymes. I didn't mean it, but there you go. Poet didn't know it. So here's the sphere, and we've got our plane. So I thought to myself, let's just do it. Let's just try it. Right, so tab, I'm going to go npm solver settings. Then I'm going to go npm cloth. You can see where I'm going with this, can't you? Then I'm going to go npm simulate npm. Right, bad boys are here. Let's just expand this for a minute. Do my brain in. So geometry over here, settings. Right, so settings into settings, cloth source into source. And let's have a bit of control plus period to pause a graph for a minute. So let's create a collider. No. Collider, and drag the sphere into there, and drag the collisions into the collider. So we've got them bad boys. So down here is all our instance stuff, yeah. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna do a little bit of a create a backdrop. That's our instance stuff down there, and you're going to be right on the edge because that's just how you are. And then here we've got our simulate npm. So my thinking is, and I may be wrong, but I think I'm right, that I can make that plane into a cloth object, and this whole instance graph is going to follow it when I simulate it. That's my thinking. So I'm going to stick the cloth mesh into the output. I'm going to undo the instances. I'm going to take the plane and I'm going to put that into the geometry of the end cloth. But then I'm also going to try and put the instances also into the geometry. That's my plan. Let's unpause, let it think about it. Nothing has gone red. And we're going to give it a go. So let's rewind, and let's play. Yes, it's working. Yes, it's moving. And yes, it works. That is absolute 3D porn right there. That is absolutely amazing. Look at that. Can you imagine doing that with an end cloth or a nucleus system? That is amazing. Like, I've even created a tripod monster as we live and breathe. That is incredible. That is sort of, it's the Theresa May dance. That is amazing. So just think about this for a moment. This doesn't have to be cubes. This could be a city, yeah? So this could be all of your buildings that you've created, and then you can attach it to a character, yeah? So your character could be running around wearing a cloth sim made of a city. That's what this means. It means a whole lot more. But that is just absolutely insane. And not only that, if I go back into the graph editor and I excuse me, I go to the npm cloth itself, and I say subdivide and split on your failure, my friend. Then if that splits, absolutely mind-blowing stuff as well, because, well, it just will be. It will be. No. Right, ready, play, go. Come on, my son. Hold on. No, where's the city gone? Where's the city gone? What? What did I do? What did I do? I have still got this all plugged in. That's all plugged in. That's all plugged in. This is here. That is there. Similar npm is there. I didn't unplug anything. Let me just plug this back in down here. Let's think about it. This is slightly embarrassing, isn't it? Maybe that won't work. Maybe that's the problem, because that's the last thing that I changed. Yeah, the city has disappeared. So let's just go back into the cloth and just go with no failure. Because if we go with no failure and that all comes back again, then we know what the issue was. Yeah, it's me just trying to push it too hard. Anyway, forget that for now. I'll look into that at a later date. This is amazing. It's absolutely amazing, incredible. I don't know what to say to you, but this, so now you can create. So you can use. I mean, let's look for a minute at these toruses for just for an idea. These toruses could be chains, chainmail, cloth like woven wool, that kind of thing, and then you can instance those all together and then put them on your character. Absolutely amazing. Hopefully your mind's blown like mine is, because it truly is. So here's my graph. As usual, guys, if you want to have a little look and try it all out for yourself, go for it. I'll probably make it possible to download. And yeah, go forth and remember, if you can spare a like and a subscription, please do. More of these videos coming. As I said before, if I'm a week or 2 weeks in this case down from making a video, I make up for it. There'll be a few more coming. If I get time today, I'll do another one today. I don't know what on yet, but we are kind of looking at sort of, you know, endless possibilities here. So yeah, cool, nice one. Have a good weekend. Cheers.